Good morning, shepherds. I've got a little bit of time I could probably give to this. This isn't going to be like my normal videos. This one's much more of a personal one, so it's not going to have much by way of context. It's more so just going to be me explaining something for the homies. Who am I? What am I? Why am I? And what does this mean to a person like me? If I were to think about me, I am a mess. I am the worst of all sinners. When I think about even a fraction of the things that I've done in my life, the things that I have to accept, I've become at different points in my life. The weight of those sins unnerves me. It really upsets me. I have been a thief. I've been a murderer, a slanderer, and a idolatrous. I've been lecturous. I've been everything. Anything and everything that you could possibly be. An alcoholic, one who likes to alter their state of mind. Shoot, at this point in my life, the 30 years I've been alive, give or take, I've accumulated them all. Like stones weighing on the shoulders, just crushing me. And I would say that I've always been aware of these two aspects of the self. The Jungian archetypes, I guess, have always been something I've been partial to, in the sense of being aware of this darkness, this desire to be pragmatically applicable in my environment and relative in how I treat others. And I would say that the worst aspects of my behavior come out not when I'm at my most idealistic, not when I'm at my most out of touch with reality, but instead when I was most grounded. When I could say, this person did this, so I should do this. Or because I don't have this, I should be allowed to do this, because it doesn't really matter. And when you can make nihilistic assumptions about how one can deal with the world, or the way one can engage with the world, the possibilities, it destroys you. And so, who am I? Well, on here, like, you guys probably know my first name by now, because I say it all the time, but who is Colin? Well, I was just a normal person, grew up in a small town. I had family that I loved more than anything, and I watched them suffer. I've watched them fall apart. I've watched them grow apart, and I did not like the distance between us that grew. I grew up my life seeking to replace the family that I felt I lost and could never really find. This home that I've been searching for. And in replacement of that, I would over idealize and over prioritize my relationships to the friends that I made over the course of my life. I prioritized those relationships because I needed a replacement for the family that I felt I could never create or fix. And I felt like because I could never contribute to bettering my own family, the least I can do is contribute to making other people's families better. The lives of the people I love most, at least so that their families won't reflect the same division that my family reflected. Which causes me to have the proclivity to over self-insert and get over involved in people's personal events, which would cause problems in and of itself. So even when I was being selfish, I was still screwing up, and when I was trying to be selfless, I was still screwing up. I've been trying to be good my entire life, But I've also been trying my whole life to figure out if I actually am even capable of being a good person. And for a while I managed to convince myself that the negative thoughts, the nihilistic thoughts, the suicidal thoughts, that those were more me than the me that had the hopefulness, the illusions, the fantasies of a better world, of a better country. And so I would say that that summed itself up with me finding faith. Because ultimately I had to make a decision. Do I live in a world that honestly is more real to me but is complete fantasy to others? Or do I step through that glass and see a world that is just cruelty, abuse, betrayal? And I tried to stay inside. I tried to stay in that state of enlightenment and awareness of constant love and acceptance of others. But then I was told that I was not being realistic. I was told that I was not being grounded. And I believed in those lies. I allowed myself to be convinced that I had to become like the world in order to speak to the world, in order to mission to the world better. Because it didn't seem like my friends would listen. It didn't seem like the ones who I thought would change the most from seeing me change would change. But it seemed like the more vulnerable I became, the more open about my flaws, my weaknesses, my shortcomings I became, the more people seemed to just trivialize my experiences, that just go, okay, that's what that was, rather than actually see them for the saving of my life that they actually were. Because each moment that I'd have these revelations, they were coming at usually a tail end of a really bad period of depression where I was willing to just end it or go and get myself into trouble. And I've been teetering along that edge of self-destruction for so long that I have to get out of that. So a lot of my rage lately has been toward the life wasted, toward the life that I know will continue to be wasted so long as I live for people who I love more than anything, would never want to hurt more than anything, and want to see prosper more than anything, but whom I've realized now after so long are not my people. And I've given everything to them to become my people, but they will not become my people. Doesn't mean they're not my friends. Doesn't mean they're not my loved ones. Does not mean that I don't see them as family. That I don't care about you guys. But you guys aren't my people. I'm dead to you all. Let me die. For my sake, let me finally die. Because I can't fully die so long as I'm beholden to my old relationships. My old past, my old promises, my old desires to help people with lives that honestly, they don't want to live. Or they wouldn't have wanted to live had I not been intruding so much in the first place. And so, I've withdrawn. And to be completely honest, a large part of why I'm so negative and hostile and toxic is purposeful. I am purposefully lashing out at people. I am purposely choosing to be toxic. Because I don't want anybody around me right now. I am willingly pushing people away. And I have that proclivity when I'm too stressed and tired to deal with what I feel like are elements of my life that I cannot control. It's easier to push it out or to get rid of the burden of having to have a say in something. Because if you get people to just react for you, then solves your problem for you. You could just react to their overreaction. So it's easier to just stay my course and not change my course and let other people change around me than for me to continuously try to change to meet them where they're at. I'm done empathizing with people. I've been the empathizer my whole life. Christ has taught me to be the greatest of empathizers, but I also realized that He's also allowed me to be the least. Because I see addictions, I see the trauma, the hurt that exists around me, and I can either stay silent, speak meekly, or finally, like Jonah, give you the sign of Jonah, which is repent or die. There is no going back. I wish I could, but there is no going back. The me that I was 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 2 years ago, has to die. Because that calling could not bear the weight of the world, yet alone his own sins. yet alone the awareness of just how much he needs salvation, to be saved from what he has brought upon his own life. And so, I know I'm meaner. I know I seem a little bit harsher, a little more cold, less empathetic. And I apologize. I try in my better moments not to be that way. But my better moments are long behind me in that regard. Because to me, most people are now parasites. Not in the sense that they themselves are parasites to me, but their thoughts drain me. Their thoughts steal my will to live. They sap my energy to have faith in a future that they don't believe in. A fantasy to them, but reality and the only thing I have left to cling on and breathe from. You guys are stealing my air. You guys are poisoning my water. You guys are making my food rot and keeping me from eating it. And you wonder why I'm so angry. That's my choice. I choose to be angry, just like I chose to bring you all into my life, and just like I chose to stick by you all, even though I knew you all weren't going to be able to love me or provide for the things that I want to create in my life. And I chose that over the things that I desire in my life too many times to count, have ruined great relationships by my own horrible choices and decisions and self-sabotage. Too many times to count. So to me, unless you're willing to create the kingdom of God around me, you are not my friend. You're not my family. You are my enemy. And I don't mean that because I want you to be. In fact, I've spent many a year talking to the people I cared about most, warning them, urging them, telling them it's time. You should change. We need to change. We need to be better than this. And I'm glad that some of you guys are finally heeding that call. I'm glad that in the loss of positivity and of companionship and of certain things, you guys have been able to grow it. But again, that's nothing new to me. I knew that if I divorced myself from being a supportive member, a good friend to some of my friends, they would waver. They may fall. They may rise and actually get their shit together. But nothing was going to happen so long as I sat there cheerleading for them, saying it's going to be okay. Or, worse still, letting them just sorrow and wallow in it. So the only way you guys are going to finally change is if somebody shoves a foot up your ass and dies on the cross in front of you so you all can somewhat, in your own pride, get it together. If only despite me. Then that is worth it. For those who believe and those who can see, then I can have a different conversation with them. And for those who are kin with me, I can have a different conversation with them. There are plenty, non-Christian and Christian, that I can be kin with. But for those of you who want this old world to continue or just want to get by in it, I can't be kin with you. Because I don't like this world, I don't respect it, I don't want it. And I don't want the world that we grew up in. And I don't want the world that we believe we have to live in. So I respect you. I love you. I care about you greatly. You are family to me. But you were family to me in much the same way that Christ's own blood could not be family with him after a certain point, if they stood in the way of the kingdom. And this kingdom's real. It may not be real to me in my hands, because I'm just one person who's fucked up so much, and you guys know more than me how much I fall short. So if anything, this is just a classic case of, what did I expect? The Bible makes it clear that you're not accepted as a prophet in your own hometown, so why would I expect any of you guys to change? Because I came to belief in God, or because I gave my life to try to honor the fact that I fuck up, and own up to it, and admit to it constantly, and strive, even though I continuously mess up, to try again, something new, something different, even if it doesn't work, even if it leads me to getting hurt. That was how I lived. Now I'm giving you guys what you guys want to live by. Now I'm showing you guys the fruits of a world you all want to create in by displaying those traits, by playing your game, by using your policies and laws and ways of treating others towards you. Because you all don't want people who are anointed by God around you. You all want people who are just good people around you. So I'll be a good person. And then you are getting everything that comes with it, just being a good person. If you want the godliness in me, the divinity that God put upon me and has helped me to cultivate, then you gotta ask for that. But that comes with ministry, that comes with fellowship, that comes with honoring God and acknowledging His presence. And if you can't acknowledge God's presence in the moment where you're at with me, and if you can't acknowledge God's existence at all, I can't do anything for you. My words are useless to you. I am useless. I am nothing more than hot air blowing smoke up your ass. And I will not waste my time doing that anymore. I am not a clown. I don't blow balloons. I don't do inflation tricks. I don't play around making animals. I create people. I craft. This is my art. This is what God has been creating me for. And this is what I want to do with my life. And you have helped me so much in learning what I need to learn to be able to do that. But vitally, and when it was most important, you were also the same person as pierced that spear into my chest and to kill me on the cross. And the thing is, I needed you to do it. I need you to be the obstacle to me. Because if you did not reject me, and if you did not reject the revelations that I had, I would not have been able to confirm that they were true. Thus, ultimately, the source of my rage is that ultimately, though David and Jonathan might have been the best of friends, and closer than any other, Jonathan still had to die with Saul. And no matter how much David pleaded, no matter how much David could have tried, no matter how much David would have wanted to save Jonathan, Jonathan chose to go into a different army. Jonathan chose to honor a different kingdom. And Jonathan chose to die in the end. I don't want you to die in this world, to this world. You chose that. Not me. And you chose that over me, not the other way around. I didn't choose God over you. I didn't choose religious life over you. In fact, a lot of it was in spite of the fact that you were very against me coming to any of that. So if you had your way, I would nowhere be anywhere near the happiness that I'm close to. And the only reason why I'm not near that happiness is because I've spent so many years denying what was making me unhappy in my life. And it was the relationships, the connections, and the oaths that I had made. And I want them gone. I want a new life and new relationships. And if you guys aren't willing to create that, then I have to go. Doesn't mean I want to. Doesn't mean I don't want to help you. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try to help you. That's why I still am, even though I know that it's useless. Because I always cared. Before you guys cared, I cared. Because I've always seen this nation for what it can be. A nation of equals, family, regardless of our ties and blood. And I think most people forget about that. So for the home's sake, maybe you guys won't. And maybe I'll never become anything. Maybe this channel will never launch off. Maybe I'll never be able to do the reforms that I want to do. Maybe I'll never be able to help the people I wish to help and to create the businesses that I want to create for other people. And for myself. I have so many thoughts that honestly I become puffed up in my own mind. Prideful, conceited, arrogant. I'm aware of this. I'm aware of my downfalls, my flaws. You think that Satan's not accusing me every single day more than you? Your accusations mean nothing to me. Your calls of what? You used to be so much better. This was that Satan's been saying that for so long. He was the one who originally ruined it for me. Unless you can get rid of that, there's nothing to help me with. You want to help me? You can't help me by listening to my woes. You help me by getting me spiritual help. Reliance. I don't have reliability. I don't have fellowship. I don't have people I can actually talk about God as if He is real right here among us with. If I could do that, things would be different. Perhaps the walk would have been different, and I would not have made the decisions to learn the things that I ended up learning. Because knowledge comes with a great weight, and the cost of that weight was that I can't be your guys' friends anymore. That meek Colin is gone. The forgiving Colin is gone. I took in too much knowledge. I know too much about sin. I know too much about human depravity and my own depravity. I can't. I want to believe that we can be, I don't know, healers in the world. But to be honest, I believe that that's my own fantasy. I believe the Bible agrees that it's possible, but none of you all want that as much as some of us do. Because I speak to people who do, but they are in the minority, and they're wonderful fucking people who are ignored all the time. And one could say that if the development was sustainable, we'd be great. But honestly, whatever progress we make in humanity, whatever progress we make in our life to have families and careers and stability and the normal American dream, that falls away the second you address these falsehoods that come in between us. It's good enough that you get clean. It's good enough that you have a healthy relationship with your significant other and your parents. Please do. Please, if anything. But that doesn't solve the heart thing. Who are you going to become? What can you do to prevent somebody else from living out your life and living out the mistakes you had to learn through? How are you going to prevent you from breaking the heart of 1,000 Eves? How are you going to prevent the 1,000 murders of Abels in your own hands? These are the questions we got to ask ourselves, and this is ultimately why I have to leave. Because solving those questions so that thousands don't die having to bear the cross of their sins and owning up to them and being accountable for them even after they've been saved, that I've done everything I can to make the world a better place and easier for others to come to Christ than it was for me, and that matters more. My ministry is not one of 5 steps, this is how you do it to be popular and win. No, my steps are, here are the 5 ways I've suffered and watched people fail, and either you can make the decisions learning from these to build a better life, or you can continue to make those decisions and see if your luck's better than the rest of ours. It's either or. But I know which path I'm choosing. Oh, I know what path I'm choosing.
I want to believe in the nobility of the human spirit. I want to believe the horrors we witness and the misery we feel is temporary, the manifestation of a dark demon's death rattle. A demon that has marched ruthlessly across the planet for far too long. I want to believe that we can no longer be seduced by its false promises, and as a result it has fallen, never to rise again. I want to believe that we will grant the beast a decent burial and will show it the respect it does not deserve. I want to believe that we will mark its passing with the scattering of seeds and will in no way seek revenge as it would have wished. I want to believe that in our newfound glory, no new beast will take its place, and we can stand alone, proud yet wise enough not to let this feeling lead to a fall. I want to believe that we can recognize each other, befriend one another, love one another, and be certain that these new feelings will grow, a gentle expanding universe with no boundaries. I want to believe that we will fully deserve our place in this new Eden. I want to believe. I want to believe all of these things. I want to believe all of these things and